Right now, somewhere in your life, there is a door you haven't opened. Not because you can't, not because you're not capable, but because the room you're standing in is warm and familiar and safe, and some part of you has quietly decided that safe is good enough. I want to tell you something today that might be uncomfortable to hear. Comfort isn't keeping you safe. It's keeping you stuck. And by the end of this video, I want you to understand exactly why. No matter how old you are, no matter what stage of life you're in, the comfort zone is quietly costing you the life you actually want. Let's start with what comfort actually is, because most people misunderstand it. Comfort isn't a place. It's not your house, your job, your relationship, your routine. Comfort is a feeling, the absence of risk, the absence of uncertainty, the absence of the unknown. And here's the problem. Your brain is wired to protect that feeling at almost any cost. Thousands of years ago, that wiring kept your ancestors alive. Uncertainty meant danger. The unfamiliar path might have a predator on it. The unfamiliar tribe might be hostile. Staying where things were known and safe wasn't laziness, it was survival. But you're not running from predators anymore. You're running from a hard conversation, from a career change, from asking someone out, from starting the business, from walking into the gym for the first time, from taking the class, from moving to the new city, from ending the relationship that stopped being good for you 2 years ago. Your brain still treats all of these like danger, even though none of them will kill you. That's the trap. The exact system that once protected your life is now the thing quietly preventing you from living it. And it works in stages, so gradually you don't notice. First, you avoid something small. It feels harmless. I'll do it next week. Then avoiding becomes a habit. Then the habit becomes an identity. I'm just not the kind of person who does that, and by the time you notice, years have passed, and the exact same fears you had at the beginning are still sitting there, untouched, just older. This isn't a flaw in your character. This is a pattern almost every person on Earth falls into if they don't understand it, which is exactly why we're talking about it now. Here is the truth underneath everything. Growth and comfort cannot exist in the same moment. Think about anything you've ever actually gotten better at. Not comfortable with, better at. The first time you drove a car, it wasn't comfortable. Your hands were tight on the wheel. Your heart was fast. Every sound felt like a warning. Now you can drive while thinking about dinner. The discomfort didn't stay, but it had to be there first. Or the skill never would have formed. This is true of everything. Every version of you that grew because it stood somewhere unfamiliar long enough for it to become familiar. The comfort zone isn't dangerous because it feels bad. It's dangerous because it feels good. And feeling good is not the same thing as moving forward. There's a quiet lie the comfort zone tells you. You can grow later once things feel more certain. But certainty doesn't come before action. Certainty comes from action. You don't feel ready and then start, you start. And the readiness catches up somewhere in the middle. Every person you've ever admired stepped into something before they were fully prepared for it. Not because they were fearless. Fearlessness is rare and, frankly, doesn't even help much. They did it while afraid. That's the actual skill. Not the absence of fear. The willingness to move, despite it. And here's the part most people miss. The fear doesn't go away once you succeed. It shows up again at the next edge of your comfort zone. And the one after that. Growth isn't a one-time event where you defeat fear forever. It's a lifelong relationship where you keep choosing to walk beside it, instead of letting it drive. This isn't a message for one type of person. This shows up at every age in a different costume. If you're young, still in school, or just starting out, your comfort zone might look like staying quiet when you have something to say. Not raising your hand, not applying for the opportunity, because someone more qualified might be watching. Choosing the easy path, because failing in front of your peers feels unbearable. Here's what's true at this stage. Almost nobody remembers your small failures the way you do. The people around you are usually too busy worrying about their own comfort zone to notice yours. You have more room to take risks right now than you will ever have again. The cost of trying and missing is lower than you think, and the cost of never trying compounds for decades. If you're in your 20s or 30s, building a career, maybe a family, maybe still figuring out who you are, your comfort zone might look like staying in the job that pays the bills but empties you out. Staying in a relationship because leaving feels scarier than staying unhappy. Putting off the certification, the business idea, the move because now isn't the right time. And somehow, it's never the right time. This is the stage where comfort zones are the most disguised because they come wrapped in responsibility. It looks mature to stay, it looks reckless to leave. But sometimes the responsible thing and the comfortable thing are not the same thing. And only you can tell the difference if you're honest with yourself. If you're in your 40s or 50s, established, maybe successful by most outside measures, your comfort zone might look like staying quiet about the dream you shelved 20 years ago because that ship has sailed. It might look like avoiding new skills because you're used to being the expert in the room, and being a beginner again feels like a step backward. But here's what's true at this stage. You have more resources, more experience, and more self-knowledge than you did at 20. Which means when you do step outside comfort now, you're doing it with tools your younger self didn't have. The ship hasn't sailed, it's just been sitting at a different dock than you expected. If you're older, retired, or entering a new chapter after decades of one identity, your comfort zone might look like shrinking your world because it feels safer to stay small. Avoiding new people, new activities, new technology, because the unfamiliar feels like more effort than it's worth anymore. But comfort at this stage has a particular cost. Time feels different now, and every year spent avoiding something you still want is a year you don't get to repeat. The people who stay vibrant later in life are almost always the ones who kept choosing something new, even in small ways, instead of letting the world get quieter around them. No matter which one of these is you right now, the pattern is the same. Comfort whispers, "Not yet." Growth requires you to answer, "Why not now?" Understanding this intellectually isn't enough. Here's how you actually start living it. First, name the exact thing you're avoiding, not a vague feeling of, "I should do more." Something specific. The one phone call, the one application, the one conversation. Vague discomfort keeps you stuck. A specific target gives you something to actually move toward. Second, shrink the first step until it's almost too easy to say no to. You don't have to start the business today. You have to write one paragraph of the plan. You don't have to run 5 miles. You have to put on your shoes and walk to the end of the street. The comfort zone defends itself against big moves. It rarely notices small ones, and small ones compound faster than people expect. Third, expect the fear to show up and do it anyway. Stop waiting for the fear to leave before you act. It won't leave first. It leaves after, usually a few steps in. once your brain realizes the danger it predicted didn't happen. Courage was never the absence of fear in the room. It was moving while it was still sitting right next to you. Fourth, track discomfort, not just outcomes. Ask yourself weekly, what did I do this week that felt uncomfortable? If the honest answer is nothing, that's the real problem, regardless of how busy or successful you look on paper. Comfort can wear a very productive-looking disguise. Fifth, surround the decision with people who've done it, not people who are also afraid. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. If everyone around you is also standing still, it will feel normal to stand still. Find even one voice, a book, a mentor, a stranger's story, of someone who stepped through the exact fear you're facing, and let that be evidence instead of the noise around you. None of this requires you to become a different person overnight. It requires you to take one uncomfortable step this week that you weren't planning to take yesterday. That's it. That's the whole method. Small, repeated, uncomfortable steps, taken on purpose, on a schedule you control, instead of waiting for circumstances to force your hand. Here's what I want you to sit with. 10 years from now, you will either have a story about the moment you stepped outside what was comfortable, or you'll have a very good explanation for why you didn't. Both are available to you right now. Only one of them requires you to feel afraid on the way there. The comfort zone will still be there tomorrow, exactly as warm and exactly as familiar as it is today. It's not going anywhere, but neither is the version of your life that's waiting just outside it. The one you can only reach by walking through the discomfort, not around it. So whatever it is, the conversation, the application, the class, the trip, the goodbye, the hello, do it this week. Not when you feel ready, especially when you don't. You live anyway. I'll see you in the next one.